What is life? An age-old question that has haunted the minds of Earthman for millennia. This question infests the fabric of my being, an obsessively compulsive rendition of a thought that makes its appearance on the marquee of my mind incessantly. The overwhelming idea of one day not existing erupts a feeling of fiery vulnerability. A crippling thought that, if not depressurized, can surely cause a cerebral combustion that is sure to send its victim spiraling out of control and into a madhouse. And yet the question remains, what is life? I have recently had an epiphany. The audacity to think that I am capable of answering this question for myself, feeling that I am no longer in need of an extraterrestrial cosmic event or the self-indulgent utterances of imperialist-backed educators to define for me what life is. I am no longer in need of your lettered opinions, as I have learned that an opinion is about as valuable as virgin fiber that has been used to cleanse after defecation. Ironically, here I am lending mine, but simply lending it as a device to evoke thought, nothing more. Life can only be defined by the individual experiencing it, so I make this expression based upon my personal observations and studies. We spend our time in supplication for attention. We want to be noticed, whether it is by a lover, a friend, a family member, or even followers. We want for people to see us, to know us, to acknowledge us. It is the truest of human conditions, the need to commune. We expect for complete strangers to marvel at our accomplishments. It is in successfully getting others to think about us, value us, and acknowledge us that we feel alive. Loneliness and isolation feel like death to us. In prison, they employ solitary confinement as one of the worst punishments possible. The next step would be the death penalty. That means that solitary confinement, or the act of being ripped away, thrown away, and forgotten, is the worst possible punishment one can inflict on a person. We spend the vast majority of our time with others in a non-physical state. That means that for the most of your breathing life, your loved ones will only exist to you in a memory. Unless you are Siamese twins attached at the flesh, you spend more time away from each other than you do together. So, this means that people we care about the most become nothing more than a collection of thoughts. They exist primarily in our minds. Of course, the type of career you have will determine the frequency in which you are able to communicate with your more cherished people. For most in the workforce, communication is limited and may be resolved to a simple text, email, or a quick 5 to 10 minute phone call. Think about this for a minute. How many of us have actually shook the hand of a celebrity that we follow? How many of us have actually touched the physical skin of someone that we admire? Most people have not. That person of influence is actually not a person at all as far as the admirers can tell. The person is simply a playback, a visual depiction of a past experience that is being broadcast using light. Even award shows are not happening in real time. In between award shows, interviews, and concerts, who are these people that you say that you love and adore so much? What are their struggles? What brings them happiness? What makes them sad? Who is the last person that they said I love you to? No one can answer that question because the answer is apparent. You do not know. The only thing you have is a memory of what you watched on television or saw in concert. You are essentially in love with a ghost. Our moments of personal interaction and touch are here and then they're gone. A footprint in the mud is more reliable as proof of a human existence than a conversation. So if our human interactions primarily exist as memories and thoughts, then there is very little difference between what we call life and what we call death. When a person dies, we are left with nothing more than memories. But as I stated earlier, the vast majority of your life is spent being a simple memory or a thought in someone else's mind. So in essence, life and death are more similar than they are different. Since both life and death are about thoughts and memories, then we have to be conscious of how we are being remembered if we are to say that we had a good life. When we are gone from the physical and all we permanently become is a thought and a memory, our lives are defined. That is life. That is living. To be remembered and to be thought of is to be alive. So, then the question becomes, how is it that you want to live? Because how people remember you is how your life will be eternally. Say the names of your ancestors often. Think of them frequently. Teach their words to your children and your children's children, because that is immortality. But also, strive to become an ancestor worth remembering. Peace.